Welcome back to the English Pronunciation Workshop at Southern Utah University. In this video, we'll discuss the plural and ed suffix endings, and we'll also talk about phonetic skill number 5. Let's go into a review of the phonetic skills we've learned so far. Phonetic skill number 1 says that when a vowel is followed by one guardian consonant, the vowel will be short. In this case, the word is this with the short I sound, eh. Phonetic skill number 2 says that when there are two guardian consonants following the vowel will also be short. So in this case, the E is a short E, eh, for bench. Phonetic skill number 3 introduces the patterns for long vowel sounds. It says when a vowel appears at the end of the word, there are no guardian consonants, then the vowel will be long. So in this word, the vowel E is the long E for she. Phonetic skill number 4 deals with adjacent vowels. It says when there are adjacent vowels, the second vowel will be silent and the first one will be long. So this word is wreath. Now we're ready to talk about phonetic skill number 5. This also deals with long vowel sounds. It says when there is a silent E at the end of the word, then the first vowel will be long and the E is not pronounced. Now that any E at the end of the word in English is a silent E, except for a few words that have been borrowed into English from other languages. So here's an example of an English word with a silent E. When we mark this word, we would start by marking both of our vowels. We'll notice that there's an E at the end of the word. We know this means that it will be silent. This also means that the vowel that comes before it will be long. So this word is hope with the long O sound. Now before we move on, let's talk a little bit more about C and G. We've talked about this a little bit, but when C comes after E or I, it makes an S sound, the S sound. And the letter G, when it comes after E or I, it actually takes on the J sound, the J sound. This is important for words that end in CE and GE. But let's just look at some examples of words that begin with these letters. Sell and scent, gel and gem. We can see that the C takes on a S sound and the G has transformed to a J sound. So now let's look at a phonetic skill 5 word that ends in a GE. When we mark this word, we'll mark both vowels, and we know that that E at the end will be silent. But we also notice that we have this GE combination, and GE combination often results in a J sound. So we can mark those two letters with kind of a rainbow on the top and a J to remind us that it's going to be pronounced J. We also know that because this word follows phonetic skill number 5, the vowel will be long, oo, so the word is huge. Let's do the same thing with this word. Mark both vowels. Recognize that the last vowel is a silent E, but we'll also know that we have the CE combination. So we can put a rainbow above that and mark it with the S sound to remind us that CE often makes the S sound. And because this word follows phonetic skill number 5, the I will be a long I, nice. Now let's look at this word. At first, it appears to follow phonetic skill number 5. When we mark the word, we mark the blend, both vowels, and that's when we notice a silent E at the end. So we'll mark it as silent. We also notice that we've got the GE combination, so we can put our rainbow there with our J sound. However, we now realize that there are two guardians between the E and the vowel that comes before it. In all other words that we dealt with that were phonetic skill number 5, there was only one guardian consonant. That silent E is powerful enough to reach over one guardian and change the vowel sound. But a silent E is not strong enough to reach over two guardian consonants. So it can't affect the vowel sound. It will not make it long. In other words, this word does not follow phonetic skill number 5. It follows phonetic skill number 2. There are two guardian consonants, so the vowel sound is preserved. It will stay short. Even though there's a silent E at the end of this word, it will not change the vowel sound. And so the word is bridge with a short I. Let's look at another word here. We've marked both vowels under the word. We notice that the E is silent at the end. We can mark it as such. And we also notice it has the CE combination, which makes the S sound, so we can mark it with our rainbow S. However, this word again has two guardians. And so that silent E is not able to reach over and change the sound of the first vowel. So it will stay short. This word actually follows phonetic skill number 2. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about suffixes. Now that we have learned all 5 phonetic skills, we'll talk about how we can add suffixes to words in terms of the spelling so that we preserve the vowel sounds in those words. When we deal with phonetic skill 1 words, we know that these words have one guardian consonant. If we add certain suffixes, that would result in a vowel affecting the consonant or the sound of the first vowel. And so in order to keep the sound of the vowel short, we double the consonant before we add the suffix. So dip, dipped, and dipping. Dipped and dipping have the double P, and that's what helps preserve the vowel sound so that it stays short. Same with grab it and grabbing. The B has been doubled to keep the vowel sound short. Now with phonetic skill 2 words, these words already have two guardians. And so those guardians are going to protect that vowel sound, and they won't change even if we add a suffix to it. So film, filmed, filming, we don't have to add any extra letters. And with miss, it already has a double S, so we don't need to add any more when we make the words missed and missing. Now with phonetic skill number 3, these are words that end in a vowel sound. So we don't need to add any consonants. We can just add the suffix to the end of the word. Go, going, be, and being. With phonetic skill number 4, we're dealing with adjacent vowels. So in these cases, the consonants at the end of the word have no impact on the vowel sounds. We don't need to bother adding any more. It wouldn't make a difference. So paint, painted, and painting don't require any extra letters. Same with treat, treated, and treating. We can add that ed or the ing ending and not have to worry about doubling letters. But let's talk about our last one, phonetic skill number 5 that we just learned. Remember, phonetic skill number 5 deals with the silent E at the end of the word. When we add a suffix to a word that follows phonetic skill number 5, we drop the silent E, and then we add the suffix. So with the word bake, we drop the E, and then we add ed, baked. Or we drop the E and we add ing, baking. Same with pile, piled, and piling. So understanding how to spell and when to add extra letters or take away letters is easier once we understand the 5 phonetic skills. With phonetic skill number 1, we do doubling. We don't do anything for phonetic skill numbers 2, 3, and 4. But once we get to phonetic skill number 5, we drop the silent E before we add the suffix. Now let's talk about pronunciation of suffixes. We've already talked about some of the spelling patterns. I want you to look at these words here. First, compare the pronunciation of the S ending in the black box with the S ending in the yellow box. If you want, you can pause the video and then you can pronounce the words yourself and see if you can notice a difference. Cats, cliffs, pops, licks, baths. Pads, caves, bobs, twigs, and bathes. What difference do you hear? Also, you can look at the difference between the ed ending in the light box versus the dark gray box. Kicked, hopped, munched, logged, trailed, named. What's the difference? The difference has to do with the ending sound of the word before the suffix is added. On the left side, we have voiceless consonants at the end. On the right side, we have voiced sounds at the end of the word. When we add the S sound to a voiceless sound at the end of a word, it stays S sounding, because S is also voiceless. But when we add the S plural ending to a word that ends with a voiced sound, that S switches to the voiced version of S, which is the Z sound. A similar thing happens when we add the ED ending. If we add the ED ending to a word that ends with a voiceless sound, that ED becomes a T sound. Kicked, hopped, munched. But when we add it to a word that has a voiced ending, then it retains the D sound. Logged, trailed, named. When a word ends in a sound that we need to add the suffix to, then we need to add a vowel sound plus that suffix. Often we think of this vowel sound as maybe being a short I, or maybe even a little closer to the short U, that schwa sound that's in the middle of the mouth. So skid already has a D sound at the end. We can't add another ED to it and still be able to hear it. It would just be skid, and you can't hear that. So we add a vowel sound before we add the D. Skidded. And because T and D are those related sounds, the voiced and the unvoiced version, the same thing happens if we try to add an ED ending to a word that ends with T. We can't hear the T and the D together. We need a vowel sound between them. So painted or potted. The same is true with the S plural ending. When a word ends with S or Z, or also with some sounds that are formed in the similar part of the mouth, the sh and j and ch sounds, we need to add a vowel sound before we add the Z sound. So buses, buzzes, wishes, judges, and beaches. We add that extra vowel sound before we add the plural ending sound. So in this video, we talked a lot about suffixes, both how suffixes can have some spelling patterns in English, but also some pronunciation patterns. And then we also discussed phonetic skill number 5 that said the final E in a word is silent and the vowel before it is long. Unless, of course, there are two guardian consonants between the vowel and the silent E, in which case it will stay short. So now we have covered all 5 phonetic skills. You can practice with lots of words that have a single syllable and predict the vowel sound of those words. In our next unit, we'll start looking at the decoding skills. And this is where we can separate larger words into smaller bits and predict their pronunciation.